What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Diamond Standard YouTube at The Collector. This is day number 3 of the Diamond Journey, and here we have game number 1. I'm going to be playing against a mage deck. Don't run into those too often, but I fare alright with my zombie deck. Knowing what their god power is can really help make the right decisions on what cards to mulligan there at the beginning. It's good to destroy his card draw, but it's not worth killing all my creatures to get rid of it at that point. But when you see the warden's a pretty big pain, so. Yep, it's going to be a good idea to do what I can to get rid of that. And it'll give me an extra creature out there at the end of the turn. Boom. Wicked Fae will probably be a pretty good choice here. No doubt want to be a little bit wide, but yeah, see, the problem with getting wide is the mage deck has a ton of control, which can be really tough for the zombies. At this point, I was thinking Nether Swarm Lord and Nether Swarm Lord and have them buffing each other. And see, I was worried that he was going to play the white plane there. So, had an idea that that was going to happen, but that's okay. The weakness that mage decks can have, so if, the exploit for this deck is going to be that you got to try to get big creatures out because they have wide creature control. They're able to control a bunch of little creatures, but they have a little bit tougher time with the big ones. Sometimes, apparently not this time. Lots of spell boost in this deck, so the spell boost really helps him out quite a bit. Even though he got rid of my scepter, I had another one in my hand. Always nice to be able to hold that. That spell boost, OP, man. Super overpowered. Boom, 2 damage at a time. Trying to get as much on the stack as I can. Unfortunately, I just don't know if even just a little bit at a time is going to help. Yep. Just like that, with all that spell boost, he was able to take it to my face. And just like that, headed into game number 2 at 0-1. Oh, going into a light deck. Not too bad. Usually a good matchup. A little bit of control, a little bit of creature. Drawing the Corpse Explosion is decent early, but not super useful because not can be used till turn 5. So, Lysander Spear, very tough to play against for any deck really, but it makes creatures get very, very large. Yep, and that's the cool thing about the Ragnarok. Even though his board is wide, he played a lot of creatures. He exposed himself. I mean, he still has a pretty full hand at this point, but stacked on a second Ragnarok, so hopefully be able to get through what he had coming. But light decks are pretty tough. And just like that, he's going to win because I don't have any control. So, boom, to the face. And just like that, 0 and 2. Headed into game 3. Hopefully have a little bit better matchup, but it's going to be like that some days. They can't all be 8 and 2 days, you know, or the rare 10 and 0. So I'm going into a light deck here, and with this light deck, it seems he's going to be going for the Olympian ally features. 2 Voracious Fiends to start it out, so I would make sure that I had creatures on the board. Then it's important to destroy the creatures with the ally effect. And then he played all of his creatures, basically most of his hand out in one turn, so I thought it was a good idea to Ragnarok and try to clear his board. I would still have one more turn of the summoning, and then he would lose basically his whole board, and I would have a Fickle Cambion. But I pulled a Scepter, which is even better, because that will still allow the one creature to die off. Light decks are pretty powerful, but at this point, that's where I've kind of weakened him up, and I still have quite a bit of control in my hand. And he now has no creatures. I still have a little bit of heal on the board. And of course, at this point, I'm healing and still buffing up zombies. It's tough to deal with. And I'm getting super wide, knocking out his other creature. At this point, I'm huge. How do you, how do you really fight against that? He didn't even have a creature to put out, and I think I now have enough damage on board to end it. Yep, and he surrendered. Good game. I finally won one. So headed into game 4 with 1 win and 2 losses. It's going to be a matchup against a aggro war deck. Usually a pretty fair fight against the zombie corpse explosion. I see a lot of it. Idea is I'm going to want to get one of my wicked fades here, but yeah, this this individual has a pretty good idea that he needs to keep his creatures above 1 hit point because the wicked fate happens. At that point, I just decided I needed a wider board. And he had an answer for that I didn't recognize, so I had to go check that out. Pretty cool when that happens. I've played this game for some time, and I'm still learning. People still pull stuff out that I don't recognize. I wasn't there for the Genesis set, and I think I came in right after Trials rotated out. Or right as it was rotating out. It was pretty close. So still going pretty hard here against this guy. The idea is I still want to keep his board clear, and that's one of the things that aggro war decks like run into is they try to control my deck, and I'm able to out heal them just enough that I survive until my combo goes off. It's certainly not uncommon for that to occur. A lot of the aggro war decks just need to go face. Boom, and at that point my Fickle Cambion is going to be big enough that it's pretty hard to kill, but still have the Nether Swarm Lord, bring the Fickle Cambion right back. I have 1 mana, Boom, Fickle Cambion right back to the size it was, and I believe he surrenders. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Headed into game 5 with 2 and 2. Always nice going 500. Another war deck. See quite a bit of those for sure. Uh, it'd probably be a pretty cool idea if I started keeping statistics like each week or each month on how many decks that I see. If anybody has any cool ideas on what they'd like to see or what they think would be cool to add in, they should throw it in the comments, and I'll see what I can do. Looks like I'm still doing pretty good, and I kept him down, and I took the Relic Destruction. It was a race for that, and I got it, so he gave it to me. Headed into Game 6 at 3 and 2. That's pretty good. Ahead. 3 and 2. Headed into Game 6 against a Warrior. I started filming a little bit late here. It definitely appears that we came in as I realized I was in a little bit of rough shape. It appears to be a race for that relic removal, but I'll try to play it out even if he's able to destroy my relic, though it's usually very tough to survive after an aggro war destroys my relic. Yep, and then he's got taunt out there, so it's really tough to try to get ahead. I'm going to go for the board clear and then putting out a wide creature. Sometimes the best thing I can do. Yep, then try to get the board wide. At this point, I definitely have a little bit of a chance. Yeah, so I wanted to be as wide as I could be. I knew he would have trouble with that if I went for wide board, and at that point I realized I basically needed to keep control on him. If he's not able to put any creatures out, I'm going to win basically on healing and just getting wide. Then that sucker kills him, so if he wants to pump it up, he can pump it up as much as he wants. Boom, clear it. Another Nether Swarm Lord, and he surrenders. So headed into game 7 at 4 and 2. Pretty well. I mean, these games can go pretty quick. Sometimes they take a little bit longer, but like today, a lot of my games averaged under 8 minutes. So that's really good. Headed into playing against a aggro war deck again. Going wide real fast. He's obviously knows that he's got to try to get the run on me. And I get lucky and draw into some crowd clear. So that helps me out quite a bit. And then I know that I don't want him to run down and kill all my creatures, so I try to prevent putting out my stuff. But it turns out I probably should have got ahead and put some. I probably should have put the Obelisk out the turn before. Here I am putting it out now, but honestly, day late and $1 short. Yep, and then there is really nothing that I can do no matter what. He is going to take me the next turn. So, as the stubborn mule I am, I make him kill me. Game 8, 4 and 3. Still ahead. Well, that's not too bad. In game 8, I am facing a mage. I came a little bit behind, but instead of taking the 1 damage ping, they took a 4C1 And so that kind of tells you that they're going to be a control deck, so because they're going to want to be able to make decisions about what's going to be coming forward. They have tons of crowd clear and big, like large wave crowd clear. Very effective deck. Common at this tier, I believe, in these games, I want to say that I was solar gold. That ward and protection for the champion is very strong. And I wanted to break that so I could get the 2 damage through instead of the 1. And I wasn't exactly sure what the best route of trying to clear his board was. At this point, I'm just trying to keep my creatures alive and get that corpse explosion off. But it's a pretty tough run after facing somebody who's got the Hortuck out. He's very strong. And the relic removal. Both of the cards from the new set, very strong, very powerful cards. Really nice to have. Certainly, everybody would be in their best sense to collect those. I'm still looking to pop my corpse explosion. I'm not in too bad a shape right now. Yep, Oni. Very unfortunate. Heals him for a shit ton. And then I don't really have a solution for an Oni. The best thing I can do is try to stall him here. Yep, and then Polyhymnia, and there's not really much that I can do into that. And I believe he ends it either this turn or the following turn, because I just don't have a spell basically to break ward and then to still kill him. It takes basically like two ray of disintegrations, but you can't play those both in the same turn. It's really hard to kill him. You gotta have a ping, so like an archer, and then a ray of disintegration. Game 9, going into game 9 even, 4-4. Against a mage with a ultra cool board. Definitely enjoy this kind of board. And he's also got very cool trinkets. It definitely is a strong game when I come out early with the scepter, but he was easily able to fend the scepter off, and he had the talisman, which kills basically all my creatures. At this point, I'm just trying to build a stack up. Figured Fickle Cambion is always a good idea. And if he gets rid of it this turn, I'll quickly be able to bring it back with the Vampiric Skull, and if not, then get out the Arch of Minmos, get that wide board. And when I pull Corpse Explosion, Arch of Minmos is always the best call because it's about having more zombies out. So did a little bit of damage there, but leaving one alive. Nope, got rid of it. And then my zombies should be large enough to get through. Yep. Unfortunately, total board clear again. So I decided to go large creatures instead of widens. See, that's the nice thing about this deck is it offers a little bit of balance. You can either go large and strong or wide and small. It has a little bit of balance in both. Unfortunately, these kinds of mage decks just have answers for everything, it feels like. At this point, I know that it's going to be my best decision to do everything I can to whittle him down to right at 10 life. Because at 10 life and 8 mana, I'm able to pull off a full combo with the Ragnarok Corpse Explosion and Fickle, or not Fickle, the Wicked Fae for exactly 10 damage at 8 mana. It's a pretty strong combo. It was really tough to kind of make that decision, but I knew if I drew into my Scepter, I'd want to be able to keep it alive. Unfortunately, he got rid of all of my creatures. But slow and steady, knocking him down. Yeah, then he plays the summon, and there at this point not going to be much that I can do against the Pantheon. He's got the large healing dragon, and unfortunately, I really should have just surrendered. I think that's heavily what I was thinking about. I was like, maybe I can pull it off. And then I realized next turn I have the damage in my hand to kill him. And he also probably realized that, which is why he healed himself on his own creatures. Very smart. And I knew it was basically game over at that point, yep. And I let him know. And then he kills me. Sometimes you can know the end is coming. So headed into game 10 at 4 and 5. Which 4 and 5 isn't too bad, but doesn't feel good when you came into things and you were like 4 and 2 at one point, you know? Uh, Deception deck. Run into those every once in a while. Very strong. And nice to see the Warden out there. Relic removal. Always nice. At this point, I'm going for the get as wide as possible method. I know he's going to be able to try to kill me, and yeah, basically smoked me super short by turn 4. So my overall score was 4 and 6, and my gods earned was 10.58. Thanks for coming, guys. Bye.